All right, so we have a big update here on Neera Tanden being confirmed for the position of the leader of the Office of Management and Budget for Joe Biden's cabinet. So I did a video last week that was basically covering all the reasons why anybody who considers himself to be on the left, whether it's like Bernie Sanders in the Senate or anybody really, should be vocally and loudly opposing Neera Tanden for this position as much as humanly possible. And we went through all of the reasons, corruption with the organization that she ran called the Center for American Progress, how they took just endless corrupt donations in exchange for favors and took money from like the UAE. And basically the Center for American Progress was going to become Hillary Clinton's administration should she have won the 2016 election. And we also talked about things like Neera Tanden assaulting a colleague for asking a difficult question of Hillary Clinton, and how Neera Tanden is essentially a pirate who wanted to steal Libyan oil to pay down U.S. deficits. The reasons for her, or the reasons for why any leftist should be opposing Neera Tanden, go on and on and on, and we could talk about them endlessly. And there was another criticism that was brought up during these confirmation hearings, and that was brought up more so by the conservative Democrats and Republicans who were talking about some of her mean tweets. And I think this is a big missed opportunity here for the left, because it doesn't look like Neera Tanden is going to be confirmed for this position, and it's people like Joe Manchin and Susan Collins, these conservatives, who are leading the charge against her. And I think this is honestly really embarrassing. But it unfortunately is the case. So Susan Collins joins Joe Manchin to oppose Neera Tanden in near fatal blow to the nomination. So first off, let me say Joe Biden, if he does pull Neera Tanden's confirmation, or if she doesn't get the position, the person that they're going to replace her with is probably not going to be better on the policy issues. It'll just be somebody, because that's what Susan Collins and Joe Manchin care about here. They don't care that Neera Tanden was incredibly corrupt or an imperialist or any of that. All they care about is the mean tweets. They want somebody who is going to be nicer to Republicans. Which is just absolutely ridiculous. The tweets aspect of her, or the criticism of her past tweets against Republicans, I don't care about that. I don't give a shit about your mean tweets. I care about what you're going to do. I care about what is your past, what is your record on policy issues. But that's not the stance that they're taking here at all. And so I think it's even more so important because of that progressives do vocally stand up and point out the actual issues with Neera Tanden, but they're not doing that at all. So here's Bernie Sanders' comment on it while all of this is going on. The Senate, this is from February 19th, the Senate Budget Committee chairman won't say if he backs Neera Tanden as White House budget director. Quote, I will be talking to Mrs. Tanden early next week, Sanders says to Wolf Blitzer. So just staying silent, not even willing to come out and say anything about it, whether you oppose. I think he should have opposed it from the beginning, but just not even when given the opportunity speaking up at all. And just to contrast that with what he was talking about a couple years ago when Center for American Progress attacked Bernie Sanders, this is the kind of statement that he was putting out. He said, the Center for American Progress is an organization whose massive annual budget is bankrolled by billionaires and corporate executives that profit from finance, pharmaceutical companies, fossil fuels, and sending American jobs overseas. Last year alone, they took funding from financial giants like the Bank of America and Blackstone, whose CEO was the chair of Trump's business council and is a leading Republican donor. Before that, they cashed checks from companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pfizer, Walmart, and defense contractors like General Dynamics and BAE Systems. They also took hundreds of thousands of dollars from fossil fuel pumping United Arab Emirates while the country was bombing innocent civilians in Yemen, a war Bernie has led the fight to end. The Center for American Progress has deep connections to the economic and political elites who have done so much damage to working families in every zip code, and what we must do today is send a message that we are prepared to fight back against those who are working day and night to defeat our movement. Let me say that last line again. And what we must do is send a message that we are prepared to fight back against those who are working day and night to defeat our movement. Where the fuck is that energy right now, Bernie? Where is that energy right now? I'm talking to the squad. I'm talking to Bernie Sanders. Where is this energy? Contrast that with this statement. How do you not speak up in a moment like this? With everything that Bernie Sanders just believes right here, what he just outlined right here, with the reasons that he would oppose somebody like Neera Tanden and the Center for American Progress, how do you then turn around and support her for such an influential position in the Office of Management and Budget? This is the last person you would want in this position for exactly these reasons that Bernie Sanders outlined himself. So where is this? This is what I want, by the way. This is why I'm bringing up this criticism. I want Bernie Sanders to be saying stuff like this right now. be using this opportunity. Don't just let Joe Manchin and these other conservatives have the megaphone in this circumstance. You grab the megaphone and say exactly why people should be opposing Neera Tanden, so that the narrative is not only along, hey, let's be nicer to Republicans, guys. Let's get somebody who's, going to be nicer to Republicans. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. These are the reasons why you should be opposing Neera Tanden and replacing her with somebody who is more qualified or better, or is actually going to engage in a more bolder progressive agenda. That's what you should be doing right now. But they're not doing that. In fact, we have the leader of the Justice Democrats going on CNN to defend Neera Tanden. So let's go ahead and listen to what she had to say.
Neera Tanden personally, because of a bunch of tweets she's done that were rather harsh.
Yeah, and I mean, there's public record of those tweets, but the reality is I think that Joe Manchin is the one being divisive right now. We are in the middle of a public pandemic. Joe Biden was just elected by a huge mandate by the American people. We have to deliver as Democrats, and we need people in positions of power who are ready and prepared to go big in this moment and not leave anyone behind. The mentality has got to be of the Democratic Party especially, but any elected official, that we have to move quickly to save as many lives as possible. And I would also point out that he had no problem voting to confirm other appointments of clearly partisan members when it was the previous Republican administration. There should be no, I think, opposition to some, folks that are being proposed by the Biden administration who have, clearly are ready to do the work and are ready.
Okay, so, two criticisms there that she levels at Joe Manchin. One, she assumes at the beginning part of that Neera Tanden is going to be trying to engage with a bold progressive agenda. This isn't just some CNN political commentator here. This is the leader or an executive director at Justice Democrats. In the words of Kyle Kulinski, who's the co-founder of the Justice Democrats, he says, this movement, the Justice Democrats, they are supposed to be the insurgents. They are supposed to be the pushback to corporate Democrats like Neera Tanden. Exactly like Neera Tanden. Neera Tanden is the perfect embodiment of everything that the Justice Democrats are supposed to be opposing. So why would you just give this implication as if it's natural, like, oh, well, we need somebody in this position who's going to be pushing for a big, bold agenda, and that's Neera Tanden. I'm sorry, since when? Who the fuck do you think Neera Tanden is? And so it's just absurd that would be the defense. And then the second defense is saying, oh, well, Joe Manchin and these conservatives, well, they approved partisan conservatives under Trump, so why shouldn't they approve partisan conservatives under Biden? Is that really the standard? Is the standard really going to be that, oh, well, you did this under Trump, so therefore it's a good thing to do it under Biden? No, you did it under Trump, therefore it's a bad thing to do under Biden. I mean, this really shouldn't be controversial, but it is. I don't understand how, what is the point of the Justice Democrats if this is what you're going to be doing? If you're just going to stand back, accept whatever the Democratic Party line is, and then just run with it, with no opposition. You're not calling out the corruption. You're not calling out any of those other any of the other things that we've been talking about throughout our history. You're just running the Democratic line's propaganda for them. So what's going on here? Where is the opposition? Why is there no opposition in a situation like this? And again, I understand, okay? So here's a tweet from Cenk Uygur giving us, one of these takes that he always gives in moments like this. He says, I'm not a fan of Neera Tanden. In fact, she did some of her mean tweets about me, but unlike Republicans, I don't think we should cancel her. I don't know what canceling means in this circumstance. It's not canceling, as Cody Johnson points out here. Conflating getting canceled with being voted down for a government position further obfuscates what the term even means and is only helpful to the GOP you're complaining about, but should cancel her because she hurt someone's feelings. The hypocrisy of the GOP crying cancel culture and then trying to cancel her. Okay, I get what he's saying, and I understand the background of what he's trying to say here. What Cenk is trying to say is, well, she's going to be replaced by somebody who's not better on the policy issues. Joe Manchin is only opposing her on the grounds of that she did some mean tweets in the past towards Republicans. Okay, I get that. That isn't a real fair criticism of her. Again, I don't give a shit about the tweets. I think some of those tweets attacking Republicans were some of the best things that she's ever done. Okay, I think it was kind of funny in a lot of cases, and I don't care about that. That's not why I would oppose her nomination. But to just say that, oh, well, they're not going to replace her with a progressive, therefore we just give up the fight. No, I'm sorry, Cenk. don't defend Neera Tanden ever. Ever. You don't defend Neera Tanden. She's terrible. She's everything that you claim to be against. So I don't understand why anybody in this circumstance would be defending Neera Tanden, would be running defense for Neera Tanden in a moment like this. This is when you double down. When, even though you should have been opposing her nomination from the beginning, along the grounds that we just talked about, now you join in and you make sure that it's not just conservatives like Joe Manchin who have that megaphone in their hands saying, oh, please give us somebody who's going to be nicer to Republicans. No, you step in, you voice your opinion, especially people like Bernie Sanders and especially groups like the Justice Democrats. These, either not making a statement at all or making statements defending Neera Tanden in a moment like this, to me, is really just embarrassing.